What's happening, people? Back for another reaction, back for some more talk. Once again, big shout out to Stuart. And we're going to listen to a very interesting track relative to one of the previous tracks, which is to say, on The Color of Spring, we heard I Don't Believe in You. And here on The Spirit of Eden, 1988, we're going to hear I Believe in You. So it feels maybe like a sequel song, like a response to an earlier theme in one of their tunes. But as I probably said then, I don't remember exactly what I said in advance of that tune in that reaction, but believing in someone, generally you're talking about psycho-emotional belief, and you often say it in relation to a mixed record, which is to say, if someone's track record of coming through on something or of being reliable is spotty, if they've failed in some circumstances, that would actually lead you to say that you believe in them. And belief, of course, can be different from analysis or knowing in a more, let's say, empirical or scientific way. And indeed, you can believe in something on faith alone, and that can be in one of your friends' abilities or someone that you know, someone you care for, a loved one. So if someone needs some support psycho-emotionally, you can say, I believe in you, you can do this, even if there is evidence to suggest that it might be beyond their means or over their head. So it sounds like a positive affirmation of the abilities, the qualities, or the circumstances of another person. Of course, there could be irony to it, there could be a more complicated or nuanced dynamic at play, but on the surface of it, it seems maybe like a response to one of their earlier songs and a supportive and positive indication of someone's belief in another person. So let's see what it's all about in practice, or at least what I can pick up on a first listen. This is Talk. The track is I Believe in You, and it's from their 1988 album Spirit of Eden. No, don't go up there. Don't do that.
I just can't bring myself to see it start.
To see you start again, is that it? Bit of tension.
Tell me how I feel about prejudice.
dimensional, otherworldly. See, what you didn't see off camera was Luca being a crazy person. How did you manage to pause that? Oh, she jumped on the keyboard which hit the spacebar. Well, let's just resume from a moment before. Yeah, that was you. That's on you. Spin around, is that what you're saying? It's funny, it's in a way it's a minimal arrangement of sound types, although those dissonant arrhythmic moments make it feel a bit busier. But for most of the track, it has a very relatively simple arrangement, but it feels full. It feels like very rich and thick with the sonics that are there. As I said, it feels other dimensional. It feels like it's being beamed in from some warm and lush sort of dimension. Ultimately, this little ragamuffin has recently taken a liking to jumping on top of my record cabinet, but then she goes up to it with the use of one of my bookcases. It's like a two-step process, but when she comes down, she jumps straight onto the desk. And apparently she landed on the keyboard and hit pause, so I apologize for that loud sound and jarring pause in the tune. Nevertheless, I have admittedly an issue on hearing Hollis's vocals on this album as clearly as in previous albums, but what I caught, it felt very emotional. I didn't necessarily hear lines that I understood to be clearly about believing in someone, as in supporting them despite previous failures or prior difficulties, but it did feel very emotional in the manner of his delivery. There was one line in particular where I could just feel the depth of emotion in a final part of a sung phrase. So yes, I don't really know what's going on thematically, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if it's in some way a reply, response, or continuation of the themes in I Don't Believe in You. Nevertheless, the arrhythmic parts obviously stand out for their dissonance and tension, whereas most of the tune has this rich consonant type of feel. I like the keyboard runs, those rich organ chords, and what, sort of synth keyboard, vocal synth type of kit. I don't know exactly what that was, but other than being surely from a keyboard, but those gave it a very almost angelic type of feel, and that was the main sonic element standing out to me as the track came to an end. That constant hi-hat, I assume, did give it some rhythmic drive, meaning most of the track was very floaty, whether angelic or dissonant, but that constant rhythmic hi-hat definitely gave it a bit more of a drive. So even if the tune was floating in many respects, that almost like hi-hat metronome kept the rhythm and the speed of the tune at a constant pace. And yes, ultimately the whole album feels very out in its own dimension, experimental in many ways. So yes, ultimately I do get what Stewart and others have said, that in an ideal circumstance it's meant to be listened to in one go. I get that. Ultimately the manner in which I do reactions is a bit different than that, so like militates against it. So I do apologize in that regard, but surely when I finish the whole album I will find time to sit down and then listen to it from beginning to end. So it's not impossible, that can still happen. In any case, let me know what you think of this one. I will see you next time. Peace.